Hello, everyone. It's a great honor for me to be here speaking in GrafanaCon. My name is Matthias, and I'm a staff engineer taking care of the logs visualization and logs Drilldown. And I'm here with my good friend, Trevor.
Thanks, Matthias. Hi, everyone. I'm Trevor, staff engineer and Loki maintainer at Grafana Labs. During the past couple of years, I have had the wonderful opportunity to be the sort of point person from Loki to make sure that our fabulous front-end team has all the data and the APIs that they need to make Drilldown such an amazing product.
And we thank you a lot for that. Please take a second to scan this code to ask as many questions as you want. If we have time, otherwise you can find us anywhere, so just feel free to reach out and talk to us. So we're here to talk about 7 features to make more out of Loki with Logs Drilldown. Since our initial launch last year, we've seen a steady increase in the usage and adoption of our query-less experience for Loki. And from there, we've been super busy addressing missing pieces, making enhancements, and adding new features in order for you to first have great tools to find the logs that you may be looking for. And second, have tools also to understand the data and extract insights from it. In this talk, we're going to focus on a subset of these features that we believe they will actually help you for this specific purpose of getting more out of Loki when you use Logs Drilldown. After we introduce this feature, Trevor is going to follow up with a demonstration so you can see them in action. So let's start with an essential piece for the Drilldown experience, which is fetching data. Shard splitting is a new way of querying Loki for metrics. It is of special importance when you're querying high volumes of data and you want to see partial results faster. In early 2023, we introduced time splitting, which turned a single multi-day query into multiple individual one queries, getting faster results for each one of these partial responses. But what about other scenarios, maybe where you're not really using more than a day and you want to see partial results faster? In Logs Drilldown, we make use of a Loki feature called automatic stream sharding to split them even more. Automatic stream sharding works by, at ingestion time, adding a new label to your stream called stream shard that takes a numerical value, which gets increased, keeping the logs within your stream below a desired rate. So when it's time to query Loki for metrics, the first thing that we do is we ask Loki for values of stream shard, which can be none, in which case we fall back to the time-splitting method that I mentioned. But if we do get values, we group them and we start querying them individually, progressively enhancing the time series, as you can see in this image. So great, we now have a great way to get faster partial results. So we are ready to move to the next step of our drill down exploration, which takes us to the landing of Logs Drilldown, where we're going to talk about the next feature. One of the main objectives of the Drilldown experience of the different apps is to never see an empty screen. And for us, that means to always see logs. In the initial version of Logs Drilldown, we focus heavily on the services concept to organize the logs in the landing page, which proved to be helpful for some users, but soon enough we learned that we needed to have more flexibility in our landing page to accommodate to the huge amount of use cases that our users have. So you may want to start from a service label, or a service label and an URL label, or just a completely different label, or any combination of them, which is now possible by the changes that we made in the landing page. But not only you can use any number of labels, but also multiple values within a single label. Fantastic. So with this, we're on the landing page. We selected the source of our logs. So we're ready to move to the next step in every drill down journey, which takes us to the details and breakdown page, where we're going to talk about the next feature. Regular expression support is a must-have when searching for logs. Here you can see a screenshot of our line filters, which is our way to search for strings within your logs. And now, by enabling that toggle, you get access to use regular expressions to search through your logs. But not only in line filters, you can use regular expressions in other filters for fields, parse fields and structure metadata, for labels, and the line filters that I mentioned. So like I said, we selected the source of our logs, we applied many filters, maybe using regular expressions. So it's not maybe time to focus a little bit more on the logs and see what can we do with them. Maybe sort them by some criteria. In logs Drilldown, when you use sort orders, we internally make use of a new query attribute called direction, which can take two values, forward and backward. When the logs are sorted with newest first, we query in the backward direction, which means to your newest to the oldest. And when you change it to oldest first, we do the opposite. We query in the forward direction, and we query from your oldest to your newest. That way, we guarantee that every time you're looking at logs, you're essentially looking at your newest and oldest. This can be easily seen in the logs volume panel with this blue shade that we call the visible range. The visible range shows the range of the logs that are on display over your logs volume. So when the sort order is newest first, you will find it on the right, and it will grow to the left when you use infinite scrolling. And when the sort order is oldest first, you will find it on the left side, and it will grow to the right when you use infinite scrolling. So now I would like to move to focus on the logs and talk about logs visualizations. Logs stored in Loki serve a huge variety of use cases and are queried under many different circumstances. You can be responding to an alert, you can be on an incident, or you can just be exploring your data. So for visualizing the logs, we wanted to have many options that better accommodate to each one of these use cases. We have two ways of looking at logs in Logs Drilldown. We have the Logs view and the table. The Logs view focuses on the content of your log lines on the body and has display options to make the best possible use of your viewport. The table has a columnar structure where you can add, move, and remove columns and change the sort order of them. And we are now introducing a third new and experimental visualization that has been specifically designed to display and filter JSON logs. And this is a great example of Loki and Grafana working really well together. So Trevor, what can you tell us about JSON logs?
Well, I can tell you that nobody has ever enjoyed the experience of looking for a field in a squished line of JSON altogether. So we're very excited to announce this view. It allows you to, can we go back one slide there?
Oh, sure.
No worries. So yeah, so in this view, as you can see now, JSON, the way that it's meant to be seen, you can inspect any one of the fields. You can add them to your query to filter by them. You can expand nested objects. And you can also change the root node, which is very exciting. So this required a small change to our JSON parser in Loki, allowing us to keep track of the JSON path to every node as we're parsing it, so that as you change the root node in the view here, where you actually rewrite the query, and we can show you just that one nested object across all of your, across all the results in your query. But another exciting thing for JSON logs is patterns. So patterns, we're very excited to announce that this is now available for JSON as well in Drilldown. If you want to go to the next slide there, Matthias. When we originally launched Drilldown, we couldn't do patterns for JSON because JSON logs tend to be long and they have a lot of structure to them, and it blew up our tokenization for finding patterns. And so our solution to that was to just stop trying to tokenize the whole thing. So a lot of JSON logs have a field that's maybe the message or the event or the summary. You can see the default list of fields that we will automatically run patterns on there. But if your field is something different, you can configure that using this configuration value. And so this is very exciting for anyone who hasn't got a chance to use patterns yet because you have JSON logs. Patterns are a really great way to quickly find interesting things in your logs, and so we're so excited to bring those to JSON as well.
Fantastic, thank you. And this takes us to the last thing that I wanted to talk about today, which are our advanced sorting mechanisms and numerical filtering. Our breakdown tabs for labels and fields offer a high-level visualization of your logs by plotting metrics of the different values that they contain to help you further drill down to find the logs that you're looking for. But what if you don't really know what you're looking for? Here is where our advanced sorting mechanisms come to help you. We have many different sorting options for our time series, such as those with the highest spikes, or the lowest dip, or the widest spread, which calculates standard deviation. And you can even use machine learning algorithms to sort your time series. For example, Most Relevant uses change point detection to sort your time series by those that present the most changes. And outlier values use outlier detection to sort by those with the most outlying values. I highly encourage you to try them all. And finally, when the contents of your fields are of numerical nature, such as durations, sizes, or just numbers in general, you can be looking for specific values, but more often you're interested in filtering by intervals. For example, you might be wanting to diagnose a slow operation. And now, through our numerical comparison filters, you can do that and filter by specific intervals. So these are the 7 features that I wanted to showcase today. So we are ready to move to the demo.
Thank you, Matthias. This is some really impressive work. As a Loki maintainer, I feel very comfortable writing LogQL, as you probably, it doesn't surprise you. But even I feel supercharged by what Logs Drilldown, this powers that it gives me, and it's my first place to go for logs as well. In this demo, actually, could we go back to the slide for just a quick second? And we'll go to the next, if you could go forward too for me. Awesome. So in addition, in a way to show off all these new features, I should say, I'm also hoping to show how structure is important with logs data. And Logs Drilldown is the best way to drill into your logs regardless of where they come from. Grafana, as you all know, is a big tent company, and so we're really excited about the sort of portability that the OpenTelemetry is bringing to the observability community. With this new standard, which is a great way to add structure to your logs data and make your drill down come alive, but with the new standard, comes a transition. And some of us may be at various stages of this transition to the new standard. And so that's what I want to show off today, and show a few different apps that are at various stages of their OTel transition to tell a story about how we progressively add more and more structure to our logs and bring drill down to life. So if we could switch back to the demo, do this live. Hopefully it goes well. Awesome. So as you can see here on the landing page, these little green dots, this is that sharding work. So we can see that, this is fast because it's a small data set, but the data is progressively loading. So as you have larger data sets, you can start to see patterns before all the data is back. And so right now on the landing page, we're showing services, which is the default sort of layout, but maybe you want to start by a different dimension. Maybe, for example, you're interested in searching for things by Kubernetes namespace. So we can come in here, and we'll say case namespace name there, and there's the e-commerce namespace that I'm looking for. So let's go ahead and click that. Awesome. So I've now drilled into this. And what I see here is two instances of the same application. And I have instrumented one with additional metadata from the logging framework and one without. So let's start with the second, the one without the additional data. And that would be my shopping cart hotel service. And there we go. So how many of you in the audience are Java devs? Anyone? All right. That was me a few years ago. So you might recognize this sort of logging pattern. That's how we used to log before we had structure in our logging framework. And so that's how this app is instrumented right here. And so when I click on a line, you can see that there is some metadata, mostly coming from like our environment and stuff like that, but there's nothing specific to that line itself. However, even for these types of unstructured logs, patterns are still very useful. So when I click on the Patterns tab, you can see, oh, like here's payment method and shipping method pulled out. Let's look at some of our American Express orders. I can go ahead and include that pattern. And now when I look at the logs, I see just those orders. Awesome. So even without structure, the very beginning of this sort of progression to adding structure, there's still value there with the patterns. But let's make a small change to the code to add some structure and see what that does for us in Drilldown. So here's an example of that exact same log line where I've added all of the variables as attributes in addition to having them in the log line. And so this can be seen in our shopping cart structured hotel service. So I'll change over to that, and I'll clear this pattern. And now when I click on a log line, you can see that I have all sorts of attributes that are specific to the log line, such as like price here, or you have shipping method, payment method. This gives me way more dimensions to drill into. So when I go to something like the Fields tab, I now have a lot to drill into that I didn't have before when the data was not structured. It was not enriched with metadata. Excellent. So going back to the Logs tab here, now that I have this additional data, I can pull out the fields that I care about. So here's the table view. I can go here and change my columns. Let's say I don't care about that line anymore. Let's say I want to see the payment method, and maybe I want to see the shipping method. So then I can go here, and I see just those. And then what's cool is once you've pulled this out in your table view, you go back to your logs view, and now you see just those fields. So this is really powerful if you might have a lot of metadata coming into your logs, and it's not all that you care about. Maybe as an app dev, you care about certain bits. You can sort of configure it to be exactly what you want. One other thing I want to show over on the Fields tab is notice how we automatically detect what type of data is in a field, and we present it differently. So our price, instead of showing a plot of discrete values, we show an average over time. And that's really nice, and we can also do some interesting filters. So let's say we have a problem with large orders, and you're dealing with it in an incident, so you're saying, is this affecting everyone equally? Well, I don't know. Let's look at all of my orders over $700, let's say. And now, let's see, does any trend pop out? Whoa, look at this. Suddenly my shipping country went just to US. So it looks like I'm only having a problem with large orders to the US. So again, sort of this metadata really enhances your ability to drill down. I did want to note in this example, I did have to repeat all that data between the log line and the attributes. This is something that we are actively working on and hope to bring to Drilldown very soon. Sort of a more first-class experience for OTel logs, being able to configure exactly what parts of that log do you care about and you want to see. All right, switching gears a bit. Let's clear all these filters. So some of you might already have some structure to your logs. Maybe you are logging in something like JSON. And so we can see some apps doing JSON logging here in this Grafana namespace. So the easiest thing to do if you have JSON logs is just send them to Loki. And we'll parse that structure out at query time. And so if I were to look at the Grafana JSON OTel service, that's this one. That's what this one is doing right here. Okay, so here we just have the JSON log lines, and this is where our fantastic new JSON view comes in. Much better way to view that JSON. We can filter by a specific method. All right, so the patch method just got added there. We can expand these nested objects, and then my favorite part is you can change the root node. So now, and this was that sort of JSON parsing feature I talked about earlier, so you see just that across all of your logs, which in some JSON environments, that's huge. So I'm really excited about that. All right. And so, yeah, this is actually rewriting the query behind the scenes there, so you just get that, that log line. Awesome. So now, one other thing I wanted to show is that even though that these are JSON logs, we are indeed getting patterns. So you can go over here, and this is because I have a message field in here. But again, that is configurable to whatever your JSON logs have. So excited for patterns to be there. All right, another way that you can do JSON is if you're using something like the OTel collector, you can parse the JSON during the actual collection stage. And so this is how I have another service here, Grafana OTel service here. And the main difference here is it allows you to sort of pull out a field, for example, during collection. So it really can make your sort of log lines look a lot prettier. And then when you click on a log line, you see you still got all that same metadata pulled out of that JSON. And so either way you choose to do it, the metadata will be the same. Okay, cool. Let's dig into these logs a little bit. So I'm going to go over to the Fields tab. Let's see if we can find any patterns here. Let's look at maybe the method pattern. And I will say this is demo data that is clearly repeating. So this may not be the most interesting, but by default we start with the most relevant. Let's see. How about like widest spread? Can we see any difference there? Or maybe we want to look at like lowest dip. There we go. So it's changing the order of the graphs. And if you had real production data, like this can be useful. Again, this is canned data. But hey, I'm just happy that the demo has worked so far up to now. So I'm not going to complain about that. Great. So again, zooming back out, here's another example with the bytes field of us detecting this as a numeric field. So we're going to show you an average over time, and then also give you the ability to add a comparison filter. This is great if you're searching for something like with low latencies, high throughputs, low throughputs, something like that. So I can change this. It automatically recognizes that these are bytes, so it gives me human readable values and does all the conversions behind the scenes, so you don't need to remember, wait, am I multiplying by 1e6 or 1e3? Because I never remember any of that. Awesome. Okay, back to the logs tab. And let's show off regex here. So I'm going to click to enable a regex query. Let's look for all log lines about teapots. Look at all those teapots. And then the last thing to show you right now, let's get rid of this filter so we have less logs. So you can see up here how many logs and my total timeline am I actually seeing. So I just made that window smaller so that I could show you that when I change to show the, right now I'm showing the newest logs first, and I just changed to show the oldest logs first. This actually rewrites the query, changes the direction parameter in the Loki query so that it's not just a UI treatment of resorting them, you are actually getting the logs from the beginning of the time range. So that went better than expected. Everything worked. Matthias, I don't know what was going on.
I mean, we made it.
Everything I just showed you is available on play.grafana.org. If we could go back to the slides, there's a QR code there. It'll take you to Drilldown with this data source selected. It's the Explorer Logs data source. Play around with these features. The data there has been sort of tailored to highlight some of this stuff that I just showed you. So play with it, let us know what you think. And in the meantime, Matthias, what can we expect from Drilldown in the coming months to year?
Well, many things, but I wanted to focus on two in particular. So like David said, we are creating a brand new version of our logs visualization with many new features, with highlighting, with new ways of filtering logs. And it's now virtualized to get the best possible performance. And we're redesigning log details and much more. So we're super excited about this upcoming new panel. And in addition, we are working to improve the default visualization of logs when they are coming from observability telemetry, so you don't lose any important data. And what's coming to Loki?
I'm going to try to go over this real quick so we do have some time for questions. But the most exciting thing that we're working on Loki right now is a new storage format. This storage format, it's going to replace chunks, and we're really leaning into something that's more of like a columnar style data format. And so what we hope is that it's going to allow those sort of key value searches by like selecting just a column, really empower those. That will hopefully lead to some query language expansion. And what we really want there is, I mean, right now, Loki is the best logs database for observability use cases. We also want it to be the best database for analytical use cases. And so we're really targeting that area. And then finally, Loki's never been great about finding a very specific string in a very sort of wide stream selector. This sort of additional key value search support will hopefully improve those needle and haystack searches. So stay tuned, and hopefully we'll be here talking about all these features next year at GrafanaCon.
Looking forward to that. And finally, please do reach out. You know our repositories, so please ask questions, open issues. We really love talking to you, and we look forward to your feedback and feature requests. And obviously, a reminder to our community Slack, we have 2 channels, Loki for Loki and Logs Drilldown for the QueryLex experience. So please, looking forward to see you there. And that's all.
All right.